nice t-shirt.
Thanks. It's a Space Explorer, which I think is fairly accurate. So
I feel like I should be in something more fun.
no, you look really nice. And do you know what? The reason I look like a trash panda is because I totally forgot we were doing this until I sat down in my office this morning. And then I was just like, I'm wearing my glasses and I've got no makeup on and I hate everything. And I'm just like, you know what? That's just how I'm going to be today. Next time, I'm going to look nicer.
You always look nice anyway. You're the sort of person that can really carry off the kind of casual look, whereas I really do look like I'm poorly if I don't put my makeup on. Everybody says, "Oh my God, what's happened to you?" Well, just my natural face.
That's rude. It's like it's literally my face. Fuck you very much.
Yeah, now you see why I got to think about collecting cosmetics.
I do.
So,
Right.
did you? Obviously, you didn't have a plan for today because you forgot all about it.
But we made a list of topics, didn't we?
Number one on that list was social anxiety. So if you're happy to start there, then I've made a few bullet points we could talk around. I've been fucking organised, me.
Oh my God, you really have. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
Totally flexing. So, social anxiety. It's something that I felt a lot growing up and even still do now to some degree, although much less now I understand myself better. How about you, Vicky with the Y?
Thank you, Vicky with an I. Well, yes. Social, like, do you know what? I was talking to Joe about this the other day. Joe is my husband, for those who don't know, which is probably everybody but you. I was talking to Joe about this, and like, I feel like everybody else got an instruction manual on how to be a normal human when they were a kid, and I did not get that instruction manual. And so like I would watch kids, and I still do today, and I do it with adults as well, and I watch people really closely, which is how I managed to function. I feel like an alien in a skin suit a lot of the time, but like I would watch people and be like, what are they doing? How are they having a conversation? Because I still to this day, you say you feel a lot less self-conscious now. I don't. Like I still feel really awkward about everything. And so like I will watch people and I'll be like, but how do you talk to other people? Because I'm not very good at small talk, because I'm not interested in topics like the weather unless we're talking about like climate change or something. And I don't care what like Mrs. Rover down the road's dog's cousin's brother did last week. I don't care. And so like I find that kind of thing really difficult. But like things like, how do you join a conversation that other people are having? And one of two things will happen if I try and do that. Either I will kind of hover on the sidelines looking like a weirdo who's kind of eavesdropping because I literally don't know how to join in, or I will blunder in with some random and unrelated fact, which is my way of kind of joining in the conversation, and everybody will go quiet and look at me, and then they will slowly turn their backs on me and carry on. They don't normally like physically turn their backs on me. Sometimes they do. So do you know what I mean? So that's how
that totally resonates for me, and I think that is why a lot of people with ADHD will tend to use alcohol as a crutch in social situations, because it takes away that fear and that negative feedback loop, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You don't care. You're still probably just as inappropriate at times, if not more. But I totally get your point about the instruction manual, because I used to dread it when my best friend was away from school, because I had no idea how to join in other groups' conversations. It was just like I just wanted to die when she wasn't there at school. I felt so uncomfortable being around other kids, and they all seemed to be getting on really well.
Yeah. And like, how do they do that? Like, literally, how do they do that?
I still don't know, actually.
No. And like the only thing I could think is that I don't know, aside from the fact that there's a big conspiracy to like give certain children instructions on how to behave and other children not, which I'm sticking to, I do wonder if they're like picking up cues that we're not picking up on, you know, because, and this was like, I had an example the other day. I was at the studio talking to, we're running a rehearsal, me and my friend who is also a teacher, And she said something, and I was just like, "What did she say?" She said, "Oh, this is my favorite bit of the song," and I was like, "Oh, mine too." And then she was like, "I was being sarcastic," and I was like, "Oh, me too." And and because I was just like, I really struggle to pick up when people are being sarcastic as well, or when like I take people really literally. So
Right.
I really struggle with that kind of thing as well. And I was just like, "Oh yeah, that's my sarcastic voice," and she was like, "Oh, it sounds like your normal voice," and I was like, "Yeah."
Oh, bless. Oh, but you're just a really good actress.
I'm a super good actress. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? I think because you've mentioned before, this might be the first time people know this as well, is that you're also thinking that you may be ASD as well as ADHD.
Well, maybe because I don't know. This is like totally. I've never. I can't face going down the diagnosis train at the moment because for ADHD, it was like, how do we design something that's totally unsuitable for these people? Let's do this. And so, which is hilarious and not. But yeah, I've done a couple of tests. One of them at the behest of a mutual friend of ours, actually, and I did it, and I was just like, oh, that's really interesting. And I was like, well, no, I can't possibly be ASD because like I am so empathetic. It like physically hurts. But then I've learned a lot more about it. It's like actually that's a very small part of it, and it's not true of everybody on the spectrum or whatever. So yes, maybe. I don't, but there's a lot of crossover between ADHD and autism, isn't there?
There is. I'm just thinking about a client that I took to see a psychiatrist who was diagnosing him for what I thought was autism. I thought a lot of what he was presenting, because we talk about the not being able to get sarcasm, not really getting jokes unless they're really, really simple jokes, that kind of thing. I really lumped that in with autism from what I'd read about it. But when I took this guy to be assessed, it was like, no, he's not autistic, but he does have extreme ADHD. So it was his. I felt that he lacked the ability to notice social cues from other people. He would blunder in. He would just not be able to really engage in a conversation unless he was leading it. And he would do things like talk about his what he wanted to talk about. And I really did sort of lump that in with autism until I knew more about ADHD. There's so much crossover, isn't there?
It really is.
You have to be diagnosed by a pro, don't you, on this sort of thing?
I think so, yeah. And you know, I might go and get it checked out at some point because there's some other stuff. So I don't know if you have any of like weird sensory stuff for me. So like I will lose my shit if a drip of water runs down my sleeve. Like I cannot bear it. I'm extremely noise sensitive. So like if there's a loud noise near me, it will make me really angry. Like flash rage like that. There's certain, I definitely have misophonia, the whole people chewing thing. I will fucking cut people. And but I did used to wonder, like when I was at university and I'd be in the library, which is obviously very quiet, and somebody would have a cold and they would be sniffing, and I would literally have little murder fantasies in my head, and I couldn't bear it. And I was like, what is wrong with me? I don't think I'm a violent person. Like, what is wrong with me? And it turns out it was them. There's something wrong with. No, I'm kidding.
It was something wrong with them. God, sniffing in libraries, Jesus.
I know. But yeah, there's all sorts of like weird little things. Like somebody described something the other day, and I love this. It was so interesting. And I know we're getting off topic, but you know, it's difficult to problem. So.
We can come back to the social anxiety in a minute. It's fine.
We can, because I've got a funny story for you. But yeah. There's somebody described it as like having a sensation stuck in your teeth, and I was like, oh my god. So like, for example, sometimes I like to be touched and sometimes I can't bear to be touched, and it feels like pain. And that's like loud noises as well. I feel like I'm being stabbed in the brain, and I try to explain this to people and they look at me like I'm mental. But like sometimes if Joe touches me with like really cold hand, I can feel that on my skin for hours afterwards, and I can recall it like that as well. It's really strange, and I thought this happened to everybody. But then saw a meme, because like memes on the internet, and someone was like, yeah, it's like a sensation getting stuck in your teeth. And I was like, that's exactly what it's like. Like, you know, when you've got a seed stuck in your teeth or something, and you're like,
yeah. So it just gets stuck there. Oh my God.
yeah, it's like an echo or something. It's really odd. And so like I have this is where we get into like the social awkwardness thing as well. It's like I can't bear smear tests for a variety of reasons. Not least because I've had some very, very bad and painful experiences. But again, it's like part of the reason that I fear them so badly is because when I think about it, I can feel everything again. Like it's like being there again. And like for a while I was like, oh, is that like PTSD or something? I was like, no, it can't be PTSD. But now I think it's whatever this weird like sensation getting stuck in your teeth thing is. It's like an echo.
Yeah, that is nasty. That is nasty. Nobody wants to be reliving their speculum visit, do they?
No.
No, but the touch thing, you know, I think it is related to social situations. Because it's relationships, isn't it? One thing that Kev does that I cannot bear, right? If he comes up behind me and tries to kiss my neck, I'm just like, get up. He says, people do it in the films all the time. What's wrong with you? I said, they're acting. They're obviously really good at pretending they like it. It's a bit like, you know, sex workers pretending they enjoy doing the porn films. It's like, nobody likes this. Surely nobody likes having somebody creep up behind them like that. No, I can't do it.
It's horrible though, and it's like it's partly because it's unexpected, and then you've got like wet lips on your skin, and it's like, oh, that face that you made, that's exactly what I would do. And like I feel, but like that's another like aspect of social anxiety. It's like if I know somebody really well, I can usually give them a hug, but if I'm not in the right mood, then I'll be like, and I'll feel awful because I'll clearly won't want to touch the person, but I'm like, it's not you, it's me. And I know that's like a really cliche thing to say, but it literally is me.
It is hilarious though, isn't it? It is hilarious how you can feel like, oh my God, why do other people do this to upset each other? It's just it's weird, isn't it? Being on the outside of that, and you sort of watch other people. Because I was explaining this to another friend the other day, and she said, oh my God, I'd love it if my husband did that to me. And I was like, what's wrong with you?
It's like, if you're going to put your face on me, I need to know about it first.
Don't. I mean, the worst thing is that if he tells me he's going to do it, and then comes up and slowly and does it, I'm like, no, it's still not okay. It's still not. Stop it.
That's so funny.
But it can make you feel just like there is something wrong with you, which I guess there's a difference. It doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong. It just means you have an extreme sensitivity to that kind of thing going on.
Yeah, and I think there's quite a lot of things going on with it as well, as like the unexpectedness of it. Like I don't like I said, unexpected loud noises will trigger rage, and there's like the sensation of it for a start, and just like and I don't want to say the consent thing, but there is like an element of that as well, because it's just like it's like if I'm not expecting, it's like, oh, who the fuck is that?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Even if I know it's Joe, and then it's like, oh, it's fine, it's Joe. But then it's just like, just like make a noise, put a bell around your neck or something.
Joe and Kev need bells. Alpine cows. I love it.
That's so funny.
Oh, yeah. So I'm really trying to do us both a service and stay on track with our talk about social anxiety. So we've got the impulsivity is things, isn't it? It's like you say, it's saying things out loud that you don't necessarily you haven't processed properly, and people might think it's odd.
Yes, or rude.
Yeah. And when that, I mean, what another sort of thing that is associated is the negative feedback loops, is that we will keep reliving awkward social situations, and it's just like, why can't I be normal like that? Why can't I even just let it go?
Yeah, and I know, like I know that there are people listening who'll be like, well, everyone does that from time to time, and yes, everyone does do that from time to time, but it's so much more. I think. Well, I can't speak for literally anybody else except me, but like literally everything, like something that other people would not have even noticed, I will be like, for weeks and maybe months and sometimes years afterwards, it will wake me up and I'll be like, why did you say that? Like, what would make you move your face like that? And do you know what I mean? It's just like, why did you do that?
Yeah. Picking up on little details and not being able to drop them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really like, sometimes it's funny as well. And this probably comes in impulsivity and in the distraction side of things as well. And this is the funny story I was going to tell you. Because like I was on holiday with a group of people, and we used to go on climbing holidays and stuff. And I might have told you this story before. Stop me if I have. Although other people might not have heard it. So,
nobody else heard it.
So this is another feature there, isn't it? And this goes with the social awkwardness. It was like, have I told you this story before? Yeah, about 15 times. And it's and like when I'm with my other ADHD friends, we can do that and it's fine. But like with normal people, they're just like, you can see them like. I assume like they're glazing off, and even I can tell that they're bored, and yet I can't stop. And I'm like floated out of my own body, and I'm looking at myself, and I'm going, "Shut the fuck up, Vicky!" And like Vicky down here is still like blah 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 because I need to finish my sentence.
Yes, you need completion.
Yes,
I totally get that. So, what was the story you were going to tell me?
Okay, so we're on holiday, we're having dinner. It was like a climbing holiday, there's a few of us, and we were having a conversation about, when you're like little and like adults say stupid things like, oh, you eat so much, you must have hollow legs, where do you put it all? That kind of stupid adult saying to children thing. And it was just like, and we were just talking about that kind of childhood memory. And the conversation moved on, and I was pondering the possibilities of hollow body parts, you see, because it's like, where could I store other things? Like, could I store water like a camel in a hump? So I'd gone off down this little like internal tangent while everybody else's conversation had moved on. And I woke up just at the point where one of our friends was like, oh my gosh, this meal was delicious. I really want some pudding, but I'm really, really full. And I just woke up and said, well, why don't you just open up your legs and stuff it all in? It wasn't just our table, but like a couple of neighboring tables as well. Just stopped, and everyone was just like, and like literally nobody knew what to say because it's just and like as soon as I explained myself, I was just like, well, we were just talking about having hollow legs, and I thought. So I didn't realize it was like 10 minutes previously, and the conversation of people. So as soon as people knew what I was on about, I was just like, "Oh yeah, it's just it's just Vicky being her usual weird self."
I wasn't ready for that. Oh my god! You have ruined the rest of my day now. I'm not going to be able to concentrate on my coaching course because I'm going to hear that comment in my head all day. It's fucking brilliant.
Oh, but yeah, so that's just one. That's like a double whammy example of distraction, wormholes, hyper focusing on things that don't matter, and impulsivity and inappropriate behavior.
Oh, that's legendary, though. That is a legendary conversation. That one should go down in some kind of like, I don't know. Like there should be like a league table of all-time best ADHD comments to make.
That's going in the book I'm writing. So
good.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get over that because I just wanted to cry. Like I literally wanted to cry because I was like, because after I'd said it, I just kind of looked around and I was like, for a few seconds I was like, what? And then I replayed it in my head and I was like, oh. Okay, that's and then like everyone was lovely about it, so like I got over it. For like 5 minutes I was just like, I was sitting there and I was like, don't fucking cry, do not cry.
Really, really You did it. Oh dear.
My brain really upset me. So it's just, it's given me a hilarious story. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, it's classic. It is absolutely classic. But the way I call it, sort of like going down rabbit holes in my mind. It will happen during conversations. It'll also happen if I'm trying to watch a film, or if I'm trying to follow a story of any sort. So I'll just go off on my own little, very interesting tangent, and then try and join the conversation or the film at a later point, and I've missed so much.
Do you drive Kevin up the wall watching films because of that?
I try not to ask him what's happened. I just try, because sometimes I'll wait to the end and I ask him to explain the whole film to me sometimes. Which he is very, very, very good at. He's very, very kind about that. But I know that happened, that started right from childhood, because one of the things my parents would always do is, shut up, I know as much as you do, just follow the film. And I was like, obviously asking questions all the way through it, which a lot of kids will do that anyway, but I think I was really irritating at it.
I'm super annoying to watch films with, and I'm not as nice as you, so I'll be like, what did they just say? Because the other thing is like, I have and I think I'm going to start watching films with subtitles on them if Joe doesn't mind too much, because the other thing is like I have like a hearing delay or a hearing processing thing. So like I've had loads of hearing tests because I was like, I cannot hear people. My hearing is perfect. It's not a hearing problem, it's a processing problem. And so like if there's background noise, or like I can't hold a conversation. And so I struggle with films like that as well. So I might just like put the subtitles on, and maybe that will help me, because then I've got like two inputs on to focus on.
It could do. Yeah. Although I'm quite allergic to subtitles. I find them hard. So I think for some people it might help. It might help people like yourself. Me, I find subtitles, I literally can't watch the film if the subtitles are on. I get like fixated on them and I can't actually see the film.
Yeah, I get like that as well. And then I'm like, oh, that looks like I'm missing something really visually beautiful.
Yes, exactly. So it's going to be different for everybody, isn't it? Finding their own way. One of the other things I wanted to talk about with social anxiety was it's related to sort of like executive function and planning and organization and that kind of thing. And the way that you can look like a really bad friend because A, you don't organize things, and B, when people organize things, you forget to turn up or you turn up late. That can be hugely stressful because it makes you look like you don't care when really you do. You can spend a lot of time thinking about friends between actually seeing them, but to forget things that you're doing with them is awful, isn't it?
It's horrible. And do you know, there's I think it's an object permanence thing as well, for people with ADHD. If it's in front of me, like it's there and it's fine and it's a thing that exists. And if it's not in front of me, like I feel all the time like a really terrible friend, but also a really terrible daughter and sister, because I don't talk to my parents that often. And part of that is because we don't have a particularly close relationship for a wide variety of reasons, stemming all the way back to kind of childhood and teenage years. Like I know they love me very much and I love them, but we have like a bit of a difficult relationship in some ways. But like I just forget that, not that they exist, that sounds awful, but like they're just not on my radar. And so like every now and then I'll be like, crap, I need to ring somebody, and then I'll walk through a doorway and I'll forget. And so that I find really difficult. Same with friends as well. Like I love my friends so much, I just feel like a terrible person because like I'm not very good at staying in touch, or we'll have like a massive like flurry of I'll be really closely in touch with them for like a couple of weeks and then it'll drop off again. So there's kind of that, as well as the being late thing, which is I'm either hours early or really late. I'm really stressed. So that I find really hard as well. And one of the things that I find really frustrating is that saying that floats around on LinkedIn all the bloody time. It's like people who are late think that their time is more important than your time. And I'm like, no, that's actually not true. And maybe for some people it is, but like for people with executive functioning problems and ADHD and stuff like that, that's not true at all. Like I will fucking despise myself for the fact that I cannot get out the door on time. And then I will like I can feel it in my chest. Like I get a tight chest, I get palpitations, I'll be running around and I'll be like, why am I like this? Like, why can I not just get to somewhere on time? And it's horrible. And the fact that I know I'm inconveniencing someone else as well is even worse. It just makes me feel like trash.
Yeah. So, yeah, that all adds to those horrible feelings of anxiety. Another thing that really I feel got quite triggered by is when you see something on Facebook that's all about my real friends are the ones who reach out to me and don't just ghost me for months and all that kind of thing. I can't remember exactly what these things say, but it's it's the person who really values regular communication and who thinks that you don't care if you're not in regular communication. And that feels, it hurts me to read things like that, to know that that I'm making other people feel that way, that I don't care about them when I actually do.
Yeah.
It's
and it makes you feel like your method of being a friend is wrong. There's only one method of being, because I never had friendship groups like you see in the films, and now social media shows you, and I know I have other friends and acquaintances, and they have the most incredible friendships that they've had for years. I don't know anybody that I was at school with. I literally don't. I had hardly any friends anyway, wasn't good at keeping in touch, and I'm just I don't understand how to have that kind of a permanent relationship in any area of my life. I don't get it. And so there's this idea that this is the way that you are to be a friend. It's constantly chatting, constantly on the phone. I always have hated the phone.
I always hated the phone as well. Loathe it.
Yeah, very anxiety inducing. It's if I can't see somebody's face, I find it a bit difficult to read faces anyway, but if I can't see their face at all, it's even bloody worse. And it's just so yeah, there's all of that, but it's but then I am also the type of person who will see something randomly and think, ex-friend will love that, and I'll put it in the post and send it to them, just apropos of nothing. So I might not be there on the end of a WhatsApp every half hour or whatever it is that other people do their friendships but you will get something through the post from me randomly because I've seen it and thought that you would love it. And so for me, that's I don't know, I think that's a nice thing to do.
It is a nice thing. It is a nice thing. And I think that's probably one of the things that will help you out of any social anxiety that's built around these problems, is to really appreciate what you are good at and focus on that and think, yeah, I'm different because, and this is good. I may not be like everybody else, but I've still got my own ways of showing I care.
Yeah. I'm a postcard and letter sender. So
that's good. That's really good. And I'm just looking on because I'm noticing we're sort of we could talk about this literally all day, so we're gonna have to pace ourselves. Yes. But one of the other big things that can come up for people with ADHD, I'm sorry, I'm bonging in the background. Can you hear my
thing? No,
really sorry. Rejection sensitivity.
Oh yes.
We could do a whole one on that all by itself, can't you?
Shall we do a whole one on that all by itself?
Shall we? Should we do that one on our next one? Should we make that a little cliffhanger?
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, because I think there's probably quite a lot to say about that.
Wouldn't there? All right. Let's do that, because we've already gone 5 minutes over what we thought we were going to do, even though we started 5 minutes late because we couldn't organise ourselves properly.
It's not bad, we're only 5 minutes over. It could have been much worse.